Hello viewers and welcome to the Yellow Couch Chat. Today we are absolutely delighted, super excited to have with us Ambassador Togolani Mavura, who has joined us on the Yellow Couch at a really critical time and juncture in his career. As I'm sure you're aware, he's recently been announced to be ambassador, will be going to South Korea, but he has still graced us with his presence on the Yellow Couch because we're here to learn from him. Ambassador Togolani Mavura, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Thank you for coming in. We know how busy you are.
Oh yes, but not busy enough to not get time to come here for the Yellow Couch.
We truly appreciate that.
Actually, the request came before all this came.
Right?
Oh,
so
yes.
we got in there early, guys. We asked him before. So how are you feeling? Are you excited about this new move? What's it gonna mean for you and your family, this huge change and honor to serve the country?
Yeah, no, I'm excited. It's something that I was looking up to, I would say. I joined the government sometime in 2006 as a foreign service officer. And when you're a foreign service officer, the highest peak you can go is become an ambassador. So that's a destiny. So ultimately, when I was a young officer by then, say like one day, if I behave well, I'm doing the right things, I might be appointed to be ambassador. And it's not automatic, it's by appointment. So
absolutely.
You have a number of people who will walk to their career until they retire and then don't become ambassadors. So it's a dream for any foreign service officer, and so it was a dream for me. And I'm happy I became
ambassador.
Yeah, so now I'm ambassador, and I'm looking forward to dutifully play that role. Representing my country to Korea. It's a great honor, actually. Very few people will get that in their lifetime, and I happen to be one, and to whom much is given, much is expected. That's what I can say.
There's a lot that you've said just there that I really want to unpick. You said that I behaved in a certain way to get to where I am. And I think we were talking offline a moment ago. One of the things that I think you're admired for by young people and older people alike is your self-discipline. You come across as a man who has dedicated himself to certain steps, certain behaviors, as you said, that have gotten you to where you are. You've associated yourself with the right people and perhaps learnt the right behaviors to now become ambassador. Can you talk to us about your self-discipline? And maybe you feel like your self-discipline is not where it should be, but what kinds of things, habits and behaviors do you employ in your life that have gotten you to where you are today that we can learn from?
Well, thank you for noticing that one. And sometimes I might be not noticing this. Maybe just part and parcel of my life, of my growth, and I dedicated it to several people who have played a role into my life. It started with how I was raised. My father was a civil servant, and my mom, they were both working, and they were, I would say, strict enough.
Okay, so it runs in the blood. That part I didn't know.
So I grew up in a family that was strict enough to make me, even if I had my share of being a naughty boy, but at least there are some benchmarks that I had to adhere into life. And so many people that I came across, and sometime when in my youthhood, I was active with the youth organizations.
Okay, such as?
Youth of United Nations Association of Tanzania.
Okay.
And the kind of people I associated with also helped me to that discipline, a particular discipline to serve, the interest to serve. We were guided by the values of the United Nations, serving, leadership, volunteerism, all that stuff. And so it was quite natural that I joined the government. I'm a public person. Okay. And I never saw myself in the private sector from the beginning. At least my calling was very clear that leadership and public service, that's the area I wanted to do, to serve. Serving has been my motto all the time. And then when I joined the government and I went to foreign service training, we are taught that in this field, if you want to be a diplomat, there's a certain way you are expected to behave.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had a training at the Center for Foreign Relations here, the one which owned by the ministry, and then I had another training in Egypt, South Africa, and Netherlands.
Okay.
All right. And then I assumed that role, and so there's what is expected of a diplomat.
Right.
And so I try to live that one. A person who is, you have to be well pruned. You have to be careful when you talk.
Absolutely.
Especially you have to be choosing words.
Right.
You have to learn how to listen to other people. You have to employ humility, because you're dealing with the people with different sensitivities, and you have to be sensitive all over. But as a public servant and as a foreign service officer, society, I mean, you're carrying all the time, you're carrying the image of a public service, and you're carrying the image of your country wherever you go.
Right.
So people should see the best of that country through you.
Okay.
So those have been kind of guidelines that I had to adhere to with my past, the way I was brought up. So it was just quite a combination. And
so it's like being an ambassador before you had the official ambassador title.
Yes, exactly.
Right? You're already living that life.
You start imitating when you're very early in your career, because that's where I want to go. Then that's how you ought to behave.
Right.
But also, I had an opportunity to just walk in a situation where I have leaders who have mentored me. I would say I was lucky enough to land into good bosses. So probably I'm also a good protege.
We need to talk about one of those bosses.
But I've been landing into the hands of very good bosses who nurtured me so well and gave me an opportunity to grow. And I got some responsibilities quite early. 3 years after my career as a foreign service officer, I was appointed to become a private secretary to the minister. Okay. So I was very young. By then I was 29.
Wow, that's quite a big role to take on at that age.
Yeah, so I was 29, and then it just happened that I was taken to become a private secretary to the minister. And by then, I started saying no. It's like, I'm too young. I mean, how could you give me
this responsibility,
exactly,
right?
Yeah. So I thought they wanted to break me.
Okay.
But I took it, and that's also shaped me, because it started limiting what I can do, and it made me stop being a loose young person. Right. Because wherever you move now, you have more of responsibility. There's a lot of expectation from you. You're mingling a lot with the seniors. Right. And so you have to live up to that expectation, that level.
That brings us back to the discipline that you were talking about before. When you're hanging out in those circles, you're forced to up your game.
Exactly. Because otherwise, the danger of being given an opportunity when you're young is you're carrying with you the image of the generation, of your generation, right? And you can easily be blamed for anything goes wrong. Right. Okay. So those who have appointed you, they have taken risk. Actually, it's about taking risk, taking a young person. Right. Because people say like, you see, we told you. I mean, we knew. I mean, how would you take the young person for this role? What did you expect? Right. Right. So if you fail a generation. Okay. Others won't be trusted because of you. But if you succeed, others will also be trusted with you because of you. So you have I felt I have a duty to prove that I'm worth the appointment, but also the duty to reward the person who appointed me by delivering. Exactly. Right? Yeah. So they believed in you. Proving it right that you did the right thing. You took a risk. Otherwise, you really disappoint. It's like, you say young people are not given opportunity. We try to give this opportunity to young person. Look what he did. But there are risks and there are calculated risks. And obviously, whoever has believed in you and has built you up over the years has taken very well calculated risks, and it's paid off. Now, for the benefit of our viewers, some may not know, as part of your career, you did work with His Excellency, the former President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Kikwete. And actually, that's where we met during the initial stages of his foundation, when he was putting it together. We had a 3-day workshop where different, minds were coming together to talk about youth and employment and maternal health. Of course, the foundation is now in existence, I believe, and is moving on well. I wanted to know from you, how was it working with the former president? What did you learn from him? What is the key learning that you are now going to apply to your ambassador role? First of all, it has been a privilege, I would say. I never thought and expect I would work with him one day. I only remember the first time I came across him, it was 2004. If I'm not mistaken. Yes, 2004. By then I was the chairperson of the Youth of United Nations Association of Tanzania. And we usually celebrate UN Day on 24th of October. Okay. So that year it was Now, that was 2005. It was his last appearance as the Minister of Foreign Affairs in that event.
Right.
And so, because I was a chair from the youth wing, so I happened to sit on the same high table with him.
Okay.
That was the first time I saw.
That was the first time you met?
Yes.
Wow.
He was a Minister of Foreign Affairs. And I don't think he remembered this, and I've never reminded him this. But that day, I gave a speech on behalf of the young people. And soon after I finished that speech, I went to sit. He shook my hand and asked me, young boy, where are you coming from? So I told him I'm at University of Islam by then. I was just finishing my degree, and I'm the chair of the Youth Association of Tanzania. And so like, okay. I said, it seems there's a potential in you may become a leader one day. So look after me. Okay. I said, okay, sir, I will. And then after that, he became a presidential candidate, and we never met. And I don't think if he remembered that.
I hope he's watching this.
I don't think he remembered, because I never reminded him that.
Yeah.
So I joined the ministry when, because he became a president in December, so I joined the ministry that. But he was kind of a leader I admire. The way he positioned himself, the humility, the humbleness that he has, his connection with people.
He has a great rapport. He can connect with anyone.
You see the human
he's
face
a charmer.
out of him.
He's a charmer.
Yeah, and so being young, I was like, okay. I like the way he organized himself.
Yeah.
So I joined the foreign ministry, and I never thought I worked for him. But so when I was an officer and then become a private secretary to the minister, so we'll go to State House now and then. I could see him now closer. I could write speeches by then. I was writing the speeches from the ministry, and this draft would go to State House. So one day, it was around 2014, that's when I was appointed. So just one day, my minister called me, foreign minister by then, Minister Membe. So he called me and told me, like, I've been asked by President Kikwete that you should go to State House to help him with speeches. And I was like, oh my goodness. So it was a mixed feeling, one of fear. I
can imagine. And excitement, I'm sure, as well.
Yes, and the other one was like, wow, yes, it would be good to be next to this man and learn now closer from him. But on the other side was, oh my goodness, will I be able to deliver? And so it was not a question of me saying yes or no. Right? So what followed was appointment. And I remember the first day I met him. I mean, now as a speechwriter.
As a member of his team, right?
So he was traveling from Dodoma to Serengeti. He was going to take a rest and try to do some, he was preparing for his speech on the Constitutional Parliament.
Okay. Were you involved in writing that?
It was my first task when I joined him.
Wow, okay.
I was not alone, I was with others, because I was just new, so I met others already started, but it was my first speech as a speechwriter with him. So when we flew from Dodoma to Serengeti, went to the hotel, and then he called me to his room. So that was the first time I get much more closer to him. So when there, he was so a president in his normal life. He was just on slippers and tracksuit.
Regular man, right?
Yes. And he has a way of making you feel so comfortable. So he was just trying to make the atmosphere very easy. And then he said, like, young man, welcome. So I called you to become my speechwriter. So, okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for the privilege that and then the honor that you gave me. And then he asked me, he told me, like, I've heard a lot about you. People spoke about you. So I have no doubt that you'll be able to deliver in this job. Okay. I was like, okay.
If he believes in me, then who are you not to believe in yourself?
So to me, it was like, and then he told me, like, okay, let's go and eat. So we went to the table.
Yeah.
And dining table, and what he did, he took a plate and gave it to me.
Wow.
So he served me.
He served you.
So he made me feel so calm and so, and then I was sitting next to him. So I could imagine that lunch was a very
first meal. Yeah,
tough one. But as I said, he's very human. He has a way of making you just calm down. And so working with him has been very exciting. He is a very serious person when it comes to work. He works so hard.
So he's disciplined. Did you learn discipline from him?
Very much. He reads a lot.
Okay.
So writing speech for him, it's a very difficult job to do.
Okay.
The very first days, you send a draft and become all red. And you may wonder, like, probably next day I'll be sacked from there.
Yeah. Should I quit?
Office.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Should I quit? But he has a way of comforting you. Say, young man, you know what? You learn slowly.
Yeah.
My style, because it's about you adapting to my style.
Right.
Your content is okay.
Yeah.
Your thinking is okay.
Yeah.
But there's a way I organize my things. So from him and through writing to him, because that makes you connect to his mind easily.
Yes.
I came to learn he's a man with a great humility. He's human, as I said from the start. He believes much in the we, not on the I.
Okay, so it's all about his team, his people, his family.
And he has a very good sense of sense and understanding of humanity. I think that is one of his much more strength, and that's something I've learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
How to live with people, how to understand people, how to deal with people.
I think you've soaked it up well.
How to engage with people.
You've definitely taken that.
Yes, I think those are the things I've learned so much.
I wanted to ask, what is the greatest speech that you've written for him, or one that you're most proud of, and where did he share that speech?
All right, the ethic of a speechwriter is you don't own any speech.
Okay, okay, fair enough.
You only own if the speech goes wrong, that's you.
Okay, but if it goes well, that's him.
That's his speech. You just help organize his mind.
Yes.
And actually, the interesting part was the early days when I thought the president would call you and tell you, go and write me X, Y, Z. That's what I thought.
Right.
Speechwriter will do. And so I went for him. I was like, I'm told that you are going to deliver a speech. I don't remember which it was exactly.
Yeah.
So what did you want to say? He told me, young man, listen. If I'm the one to tell you what I'm going to say, then between me and you, who's assistant of the other?
That message was very clear.
I brought you here to assist me. So you go, think as a president.
Right.
Bring me a draft. Yes, I have my own ideas, but I have many things to do. I might miss the details. So your job is to think on my behalf.
Right.
Bring the draft, and out of your draft, I'll organize my thoughts.
Okay, so you're kind of leading the process and helping to jump into his mind.
So one of the difficult ethics that many fails is that one, that you don't take credit from the speech of your boss.
Let me rephrase the question then. Which speech do you think was the best one that he had ever given that you perhaps were involved in the background?
The first one.
The first one. Okay, the first was the best because it was your first.
Yes, there's so many others, but
that
first one, I think I enjoyed that one. There were the one when it was winding up in the parliament as well.
Now I'm curious because you helped us to invite His Excellency to our Gen M launch, which was at the University of Dar es Salaam. I think this was last year, November.
Yes.
Did you write his speech for that event? Because he delivered quite a powerful one about owning your future.
I contributed in the draft.
Okay.
My job was to write a draft.
Okay, message received.
He made a speech.
I wanted to shift gears really quickly and just ask you about your role as a father. For the benefit of our viewers, Ambassador Togolani is the father to a brilliant young lady called Pearl. I don't know if you have other children, but I only know about, you see, I only know about Pearl. And she is a poet, I believe. So just tell us about raising a confident young woman, because when we see her, we're just in awe. As grown women, we see her and we think, how is this possible? And they say, a father who empowers his daughter raises an empowered woman. What have you done as a father to make this happen?
Okay, honestly, I should first and foremost, before I go further, to acknowledge the role of a mother, my wife, because in my career, I've not had the opportunity to spend much time with my children, because it has involved a lot of travels.
Yes.
So either travel or working for a longer time.
Right.
So she played a lot of that role, and a lot of that credit should go to her.
Shout out to mom.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
But I would say, yes, I have a role in that, because I might be frustrating that growth, or I might not, or am I supporting it?
Yeah.
So she likes to paint, and she dances ballet. and she loves writing as well. She has many talents, I would say. As a father, what I do, she's my favorite and she likes me so much. So, what I do.
To say that about your kids, you're going to get in trouble for that one.
Everyone is my favorite, but I say like she's special being the only girl.
Very creative. Okay.
All right. And I love daughters, so it's nice. So one thing about her, she will come to me for conversation.
Okay.
If there's any role I'm doing to her, is conversation.
Okay.
If she has any question, any difficult question, the person to hit with that one, it's me.
So she's very open with you, and she knows Dad will listen and not judge.
Yes.
Okay.
So most of the time what I'm doing is listening and telling her stories. She loves stories, and I love telling stories.
That's awesome.
So she's a very curious girl, so she'll ask me about what happened, what about this. So in the course of conversation, that's what I'm usually trying to do, is to giving her opportunity to be herself, opportunity to express herself, opportunity to validate some of her thinking, and guiding others.
I think there's some huge pearls of wisdom there for the fathers out there. A lot of us grew up fearing our fathers. We could not tell our fathers certain things, but that openness has brought you closer and has unleashed her talent. It's amazing. And kudos to Mom as well. It's teamwork for sure. A couple of rapid fire questions, if I may, Ambassador. As a child, your favorite game, what was your favorite game?
Football.
Okay, football. Position?
I lost it in between.
Yeah?
I lost it along the way.
Specific position?
Usual like number 7 and 9.
Okay, number 7 and 9. I'm going to pretend like I know where those are.
And center forward.
Can you finish this sentence? I would be the happiest person in the world if I had...
Lifted a generation.
Lived?
Lifted a generation.
Lifted a generation. What is your one message to young people watching today on that note?
I believe in time. There's a time for everything in earth. I believe in new laws and principles of universe. I believe things will fall in place over time if you just put consistent efforts, have amount of discipline, and have a clear focus and persistence on what you're trying to do.
Okay.
All right. I know the challenge, the challenge of feeling that you are left out of the race. The challenge of nowadays, we have this literature of milestones. By this age, you have to do this. By that age,
some people have a spreadsheet. They planned it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to me, I think life is not a spreadsheet.
Right.
It's about just wandering around. There's so many other forces. There's a lot of gain if you associate with the right people. Because I believe keys to success in our life is around people. Difficult answers in life are with people you're associating with around. And there's this, and I believe in we.
Yes.
Because I think the challenge that they are facing, they are living in the world where I is very important.
So it's about individualism.
So people want to be superheroes, and to me, you don't have to be a superhero.
Right.
You have to be human.
Finally, this brilliant man that sits before me, obviously you have an incredible amount of self-discipline, both in the family and your career. What is your greatest fear currently? What does Ambassador Togolani fear? Fearless, if you want.
I would say fearless, but for those who know me, will tell you I'm a very optimistic person.
Okay.
I'm driven by faith and hope. So even a little amount of fear will be subdued to that.
Okay.
So I can fear for very few seconds, and then the next I'll say hope. I'm the very optimistic person. So yes, as a human I fear, but fear has no place in my life.
I love that, and I think it's a great note to end on. So remember that fear has no place in our life. It's something that we control. Balozi, Ambassador Togolani Mavura, thank you very much for joining us on the couch today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Safe travels to South Korea. We're all behind you, and we will support you wherever you go. So thank you for being here today.
Inshallah.
To our viewers, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel to join other conversations like this, where you can learn from thought leaders on the yellow couch. Until next time, see you then.